All right, I think we are live. So, peace, family. Peace, family. This is Minister Kojo Shisha Baz, aka Aboriginal Don. Listen, I wanted to talk about a particular situation that is very touchy right now for a lot of people. And this is by design what they're doing to get specifically Blacks, African Americans, Indigenous people, Aboriginals riled up, right? So it's really about the situation with Takaya Young, right? So for those who may not be aware of what actually happened, but this was a fatal shooting of Takaya Young. And we're going to go over the whole situation and cover both aspects of what happened based off of what we know and what could have been done better on both sides. And then we'll talk about the actual remedy because there is actual remedy and the best practices, right? So it's not to make anything complicated, but really just based off of what we know. So let me pull up my screen, y'all, so you can see what the story was, right? So this is the actual story where they're showing, and I'm not going to play the video because it's crazy, right? Takaya Young shot, right? And we'll go to both sides and really break down exactly what's happening, right? In my mind, it is crazy that this even happened like this, right? So, um, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. So we got to talk about both sides, right? And we got to ask ourselves, how did we get here? There's the footage that shows is a clip of it, but my biggest question as a jurist, as a tribal lawyer, is how did we get here? Like, there's no like everything has a story, and there's maybe things that are missing, right? And then there's best practices, right? So let's talk about it. Let's start with the police side of things, right? And this is criticism, right? This is critiquing. Um, the police the one of the police officers did not handle it the most optimal way, really. Because if there was already an officer engaging with Miss Young, and I see that maybe there was a difficulty of trying to get her to comply by opening up the window, right? And in my mind, if this person allegedly is stealing or has stolen from the Kroger store or whatever store, the second officer should have ran the plates, grabbed all the information, and stayed behind the vehicle. If he was so concerned that his life was being threatened, right? So, let me go back to just, I'm gonna go back and remove this for a second. If she was really going to be a threat and move and drive off, like what happened, the second officer really should have stayed behind, collected the information. Understand this is theft. This is not a high crime, right? It's a crime if that's what happened, right? But how you handle it, not the best way, right? So let me give a couple of suggestions that they could have done. Like I said, taking the plate information, car information, right? Since the windows weren't being rolled down, taking pictures, using the body cam like it's always recording. Then the next thing is okay, if you suspect that this person is about to do a theft and run, then what I would have thought that is you would find some way to shoot the tires or puncture the tires. You have tools like that you can puncture a tire really quickly or shoot the tire really quick, right? Like it doesn't make sense that that was the method of strategy was to step in front of the vehicle. Like if somebody is quote unquote getting ready to drive off, they have not stopped the car, they have not complied by rolling down the windows. What you think standing in front of the vehicle is going to do? That doesn't even make sense to do. Like you're putting your own life at risk. Not smart. So in my mind, you guys have a specific training. You guys have a what they call a general orders. You went through the police academy. You got to be smarter than that. to think that stepping in front of the vehicle that is still on and can potentially move, that this person is not going to run off, even when they may be in the wrong or may not be in the wrong, right? If they're fearful for their life or whatever the case is, that's not smart. I would have thought they would have taught y'all to get your tools and try to make sure that if the person's about to do a hit and run, if the officer who's already engaging, trying to engage, is already on the side, that you would stay in the back or on the side as well, because the person can always reverse, right? So again, you're going to collect the information and then you would step out to the side out of harm's way. And then if you need to, you could puncture a tire. I know you guys have tools for that. So that is the major criticism, because to sit in front and shoot over petty theft, something's not making sense, right? Like, was it really that worth doing? Is my question. Like, no, that was not worth doing, right? Just to be very transparent, that was not worth doing. Which is, it's really dumb. And there's several cases, like there's several case law of officers mishandling the situation. Like, let's pull up, like, I want to pull up and see if we can find other cases just like in Ohio. Well, hold on, we'll do that later, maybe in a different video. I want to stay focused, right? So if you were trying to really book the person for petty theft, allegedly, or whatever the situation is, again, we don't have the full story, but based off of what I see, like, that's not the best way. And I think these officers should have known better, right? How to handle it. I mean, that just doesn't make sense. Because, like, if you last thing, if you stand to the side and you see that the person's really, you hear the car go in, gear to drive, in your mind, you should shoot the tire or puncture the tire so that they can't go far. Like, you got to think quick. If you were thinking that quick to shoot the front of the car and the windshield. Now, mind you, this lady was pregnant, so you got to be smarter than that. Um, you got to be smarter than that. Like, I promise you that was dumb. So that's a critique on the police side. Now let's take a gentle approach, not even a gentle approach, but let's just take a critique on Miss Young's side, because we have to analyze both sides to be fair, right? And it's not to be crazy or anything, right? So, Miss Young, I'm gonna ask the same question. How did we get here? How did we get here that the police are standing in front or onto the side of your car and asking questions and you still being in motion? Like, how did we get there? Right? I'm always gonna ask that because I don't know the full story. But if you didn't do anything wrong, why not roll down the window, even if it's a crack? Like, you don't have to roll it all the way, because I understand maybe you might be a little scared for your life, because they can reach in and then do misconduct, right? That's what we call that, misconduct, which happens all the time. But my question is, why didn't you roll down the window a little bit? And why are they there bothering you? Or why are they there questioning you? Were you allegedly stealing? That's my question. Because if you were, you have provoked these people to get involved. But if you didn't do anything wrong and you have nothing to hide, then what is it to not comply in some shape or fashion? Right. And this is where we have remedy to address those situations. And I'm trying to handle this very, very delicately, because Miss Young is gone. Right. And I know the family is grieving. But those are some specific questions, because there has to be we have to stop um engaging improperly with law enforcement, because we know they do a lot of misconduct. That's been proven. Like, that's not even a question. but we at least have to engage properly too on our end, right? Which I know some people do, right? But and we can't be invoking them to even do something like this, right? By doing if we were allegedly stealing, right? Again, I'm not making any accusations. This is just what was said in the article, allegedly stealing, right? So let's kind of move on to the remedy, right? I know a lot of y'all are like, well, what's the remedy? What's the actual remedy for all of this? Like, I'm gonna tell you in three three words, and we'll break it down: nationality, protocols, jurisdiction, right? And the marching is not going to solve the problem, right? What's going to end up happening is you're going to get crazy organizations like Black Lives Matter, which ran off with 80 million or 90 million, um, or other people who don't have your best interest. And what they're going to do is they're going to say, hey, listen, just take this money and then go away and go hush hush, right? And never speak of this again, right? So let's talk about nationality, right? You need to have your political status in order. The reason why you are being treated the way you're treated and the reason why things are going the way they're going is because you do not have a nationality to call your own. And you continue to stay in the status as a 14th Amendment second class citizen. Like hopefully everybody's following me who's watching this video. Like you really need to let's just for shits and giggles, let's pull up what the 14th Amendment actually is, right? Oops, 14th Amendment, right? Let's pull this up. Where are you? Here it is. 14th Amendment, the U.S. Constitution, right? Talks about all persons naturalized, born, are subject to the jurisdiction, right? Representatives shall be appointed to several states, blah, 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 right? No person, da, 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 right? The, the validity of the public debt of the United States. You are subject to that, right? Oh my goodness. It's crazy. You're subject to the debt and you can't even question it, right? Oh man. Let's go to Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3 of the Constitution. Section 2, Clause 3. This is what we always continue to talk about in Arna. And those who are in Arna who are watching this video, you already know what I'm about to talk about. Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3, right? And it's that was what's in the actual 14th Amendment, right? But the difference is, look what they say. Look, according to the respective numbers, which determined by adding the whole number of free persons. They've obviously they've made a revision to this where they took out the word free. That's one thing, right? The 14th Amendment was supposed to actually give you citizenship, but instead they have put you in bondage at this point, right? So that's one thing. All right, let me go back and take myself off, remove that from the screen. So understand that that's exactly what's the issue. You need a nationality. You need to be part of a tribal government that's actually going to afford you one, your natural rights, your political rights, and it's going to afford you the protections that you actually need for yourself and your family, right? It has its own constitution, that has its own codes, that has their own institutions, right? This is the problem. This is the problem. All right, let's talk about protocols, right? Um, oh, wait, let me just kind of make a last point on the other part. Like, Even, and if you have your political status in order, and this does happen to you, right? We can handle this. We have jurists that can assist in this manner to get you the remedy that you need. Um, right? That's one thing. Now, the other thing that we have to talk about is protocol, protocol. How to actually engage with these people in this other jurisdiction, right? You have to approach this, and within Arna, we have protocols of engagement with law enforcement, which is very, very important. Like, you can't just act crazy. You can't do things to invoke certain responses. When you do the stuff in accordance, you identify yourself, right? If you have nothing to hide, right? You have nothing to hide. Proper identification, your car's all checked out. They already know, they've already identified you. And if the law enforcement still chooses to violate the fourth, fifth, Title 18, if they choose to violate that, then we have the remedy, right? And there's several cases of this happening where officers violate their oath, they violate fourth, fifth, Title 18. Um, as far as the Fourth and Fifth Amendment, they violate that, whether it's police misconduct, whether that's racial profiling in general, um, restraining, holding people, falsely arresting people. Like, these are all violations that these officers are supposed to uphold and make sure that they treat people properly. Does that, y'all follow me? Like, literally, this is what they're supposed to be doing. Okay. And then lastly is just jurisdiction, y'all. Like, if you continue to want to stay in the U.S. jurisdiction and continue to be a slave and treated like a second class citizen, and this is what's gonna continue to happen, right? The mistreatment, all of this stuff. You need a jurisdiction that is going to have actual structure, institutions, a place where you can thrive at, a place where you can raise your family in peace. And if there's any violations, that'll be addressed. Where you can build your own economy, build wealth for your family. Like, this is not a game. This is not a joke. This is literally the remedy. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear it. They're like, oh, well, yeah, she's gone. And what they did was wrong, point blank. But also, we have to ask the same question: how did we get there? I'm always going to ask, how did we get there? They know that they shouldn't fire those shots over petty theft. That's one. If that's what happened, was allegedly petty theft. And then number two, she should have stayed calm, identified herself, and if there's anything that she should have just recorded, called, make a phone call, you can do that, right? And again, people, things are going to continue to heat up where you don't want to be walking around here in the same political status of a second class citizen as a slave. You need a body politic. You need a nation that's going to afford you the protections. And that's where honor comes in, y'all. This is not no sales pitch. This is literally the truth. A lot of people are wasting time. A lot of people like to stay in dysfunctional land. A lot of people like to stay suppressed. And I'm telling you, you're wasting your time. These people do not care. Um, so I'm not gonna take up a lot of people's time. Again, I'm going to end it on this note. If you want to learn more, if you want to get an understanding, maybe you don't know what to do. Maybe you just want to seek some type of consultation on nationality, right? You can go to hawabdfw.org. If there's any remedy that you're seeking, or maybe questions that you have in different areas, we'll be gladly to help you. Again, um, you can reach out there, or you can reach out to shabazassociates.com, or you can even go to arnagovernment.org. Doesn't matter. Either way, don't sit here and do nothing, because this is only going to continue to accelerate given what is happening. The election year is coming. So they're trying to get your attention. They're trying to get you riled up, just like they did before. They're doing a whole lot of things, right, to get you distracted, to get you emotional, to get you to move in a certain direction. This is all by design, what they're doing. So anyway, I won't waste too much time with y'all. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Like I said, this is something that you really need to consider for you and your family. Please, please don't waste any time. Marching is not the remedy. Protesting is not the remedy. Being involved in a tribal government, claiming your political status, building up institutions in your own local jurisdiction where you're going to be afforded the protections is the remedy. Self-administrated reparations in real time without asking permission. Love y'all, family. Peace.